So Liverpool pushes their lead back to 7 points atop the table. Of course, Arsenal picking up a big 3 points yesterday in dramatic fashion, but there you see it. Liverpool right now, first place in the Premier League. Stevie, I don't want to lead the witness here. I know it was dramatic and I know it wasn't very pretty, but it's 3 points in a title race when Arsenal had closed the gap to 4. So how'd you feel when it was all said and done today?
I was the happiest man alive when that final whistle went.
You were nervous. You were very nervous in that second half.
Do you know, at half-time, I was a happy camper, and I was very comfortable.
So what happened? What was the big difference?
I've got to think that the players just took their eye off the ball and thought the game was over. I mean, Arne Slot's talking there about as if they were coasting, and then all of a sudden, Wolves got a goal from somewhere. Wolves were the better side for the second half of this game by quite some way, I thought. And I don't understand how it came as a surprise, because Wolves are a team that want to go forward regardless of the score. So they should have known, even though it was 2-0, they still needed another one to kill the game off, in my opinion. But they didn't go about it in the correct manner in the second half. And, quite frankly, we saw the clearance from Quansah there, which was fantastic. But we didn't see the one-on-one that Alisson saved.
Yeah.
I mean, so I was completely and utterly uncomfortable, particularly at 2-1. But, as you said, the most important thing right now is that you get the win.
Wolves, more shots on target, more possession at Anfield. I mean, I feel like we never say that, certainly about a team that's in a relegation fight.
Let me put things in perspective. Liverpool had 0 shots in total, on or off target, in the second half. This is from a team who have full control of the game at the break at 2-0. And at that point, knowing kind of Wolves' own struggles, knowing Liverpool and how good they are, particularly at Anfield, you are thinking this is just going to, they're just going to run the score up. But as the game went on, there was just, it's really difficult to kind of put your finger on, because they had that penalty that was given and, in my mind, rightly overturned in the second half. And from that moment on, I just felt like Liverpool went against who they are and started to defend that lead. And that's not their strengths. That hasn't been their strengths for quite some time. And all of a sudden, you saw Wolves kind of grow in confidence. And Cunha in particular, what a player he is. Had this one free kick in the first half that just missed the upright, and then you saw the goal, had a couple others. They start growing in confidence, and they start making attacking substitutions. And as the game went on, more and more, you started to think about Everton. And that's what I think you saw. And I'll be honest, I am really surprised that Liverpool held out, because the last 10 or 15 minutes, again, in contrast to the second game of the day, I'm sitting there thinking, what was it going to score? What was it going to equalize here?
Frank, are Liverpool vulnerable here?
Very much so. I mean, lucky day for the Reds. Really lucky day for the Reds, because they didn't deserve to win. And Stevie has the right to be the happiest guy in the world, getting the 3 points for the Reds. Because, 2 days ago on Friday night, I hammered Chelsea by giving up at 2-0. But I can explain, because they are so immature, so inexperienced, and they have some excuses. But what I saw today, the second half, from the next champion of the Premier League, was quite unprofessional. And we are talking about people with very much experience, with very much maturity, and didn't do nothing. That was amazing. That was amazing to see how they collapse in that game and show no strength, no unity, and they were nowhere near it at home. I never seen that in my life from a future champion. That was awful. On top of it, I think there is a red card deserved for Konate. I think he missed and smashed the guy. He should have been a second yellow card for me.
Based on what the guys are saying, a terrible second half for Liverpool. Is it a blip, something that maybe might come to haunt them later down the road in the Premier League title race or in the pursuit of the Champions League? Or is it just something we can write off as they played bad, but they got the 3 points at the end of the day?
Well, so first of all, I want the stats nerds out there to tell me when is the last time that Liverpool played a half at Anfield without taking a single shot on goal. And I'm going to go out on a limb now and guess that it has never happened since they started keeping track. I think one of the big concerns for Liverpool all season long, because he doesn't rotate very much, especially in certain key positions, is that certain players are going to get fatigued. You know, in the modern game, most successful teams rotate a lot for a whole bunch of different reasons. And I don't think it was necessarily the wrong decision. Arne Slot hasn't rotated much this year, and there are certain players that I think are pretty critical. You know, we saw Mohamed Salah in midweek against Everton basically take the game off, except for popping up, you know, score one goal, set up the other. Virgil van Dijk has been consistent. For me, the third most important player on this team is Ryan Gravenberch, and he's played almost every minute of every game. And I think if you watch him, you can see he is tired, he is fatigued, and I don't know that there's a natural substitute for him. I think he's got to start thinking about rotating. Maybe you do it in the league where, you know, you have a healthy advantage, 7 points over Kai Havertz-less Arsenal. But it is something that's got to come into his mind. And I'll tell you what, he's not going to admit it, but I don't think he's fussed at all by going out of the FA Cup.
You agree, Stevie?
Sorry, I was just going to say, while Frank and I may disagree on the Konate challenge, that absolutely was a foul, Luis Diaz on Agbadu in the build-up to the first goal. And the amazing thing for me watching it was that none of the Wolves players seemed to draw the referee's attention to that. Now, I'm going to freely assume that VAR had a look at the entire play and decided it was fine. But what I saw, that without question should have been the first goal, without question should have been ruled out for me.
Can I throw the swings and roundabouts argument in? Because Konate got fouled, in my opinion, for the equaliser against Everton. So, swings and roundabouts.
That was 2 days ago.
What about the point that Gab makes about rotation? Do you think you'd like to see more?
I'd like to see more. Yeah, I agree. I agree that Gravenberch did look tired today, absolutely. But I think Szoboszlai and McAllister have been rotated. But I would agree that Gravenberch seems to be the one that hasn't been. But I 100%, you do not rotate anybody in the Premier League. You play your best team every single time. You need to win the Premier League. The Premier League is the most important trophy for Liverpool this season. And if you have to rotate, which I agree, then if you can do it in other competitions, then absolutely.
I mean, looking at the schedule, it doesn't seem like a lot of, I mean, Southampton obviously, but it doesn't seem like a lot of obvious places to rotate there. No, and Premier League, absolutely no rotation whatsoever. You play your best 11 every single game between now and the end of the season. The Premier League is absolutely the number one thing that is key for Liverpool and Arne Slot this year. And I couldn't care less if they don't win the Championship. I couldn't care less if they don't win the Carabao Cup, if it means they win the league. And I would suggest that 90% of Liverpool fans are thinking along the same lines as me.
I actually think that it's going to be very hard for the Gunners to catch Liverpool because Liverpool seems to be pretty lucky on top of being good, because you're not first being bad. So it's going to be hard for the Gunners. But as you were showing the schedule for Liverpool, they will have to pay attention to every game that they're going to play. Aston Villa, Manchester City, and I forgot the other one. That's going to be tricky. That's going to be very tricky.
Gab, do you come out of this weekend more or less convinced that Arsenal can make it a title race now that we got a good look at him without Kai Havertz?
No, I still think Liverpool are overwhelming favorites. It's not just that. It's also Bukayo Saka is not back, among other things. Arsenal have just been hit hard by injuries and other factors this season. 7 points is a lot. And I, on the rotation point, by the way, I think different managers view it in different ways. But the idea is that when you rotate, it's not just a question, you're choosing the right player for that game. And so, for example, Andy Robertson may be a better player than Tsimikas. However, if Robertson is at 80% because he's tired and Tsimikas is at 100% because he didn't play in the previous 2 weeks, maybe Tsimikas is the better bet. Just citing that as an example. There's some managers who have made it a mantra and do it all the time, and other managers who like kind of their tight 13 or 14 players. Interesting thing about Slot is he rotated quite a bit in his previous job. Obviously at Liverpool, he's done it a lot less. Maybe we'll see more from him in the coming years.